Super Smash Bros. Ultimate changed a lot of things from previous Smash games, and one of those things was Link. While they didn't change too much in regards to his playstyle, except for maybe his bombs, they updated him to his Breath of the Wild version and matched his moves to weapons from the game. However, the gear this Link has is less than 1% of the total amount of items from his original game, which begs the question, can Smash Ultimate Link beat Breath of the Wild? Let's find out. So I booted up a new save file, woke up in the Shrine of Resurrection, and walked out to the Great Plateau. Now, if you've played Breath of the Wild for more than like 10 minutes, you'll probably know this, but this is the tutorial section of the game, and to beat it, you need to beat the 4 shrines on it and get the paraglider. Each shrine focuses around a specific rune, and you need to utilize them to progress. It sounds pretty simple, but wait a second. Looking at Smash Link's moveset, the only rune he can use is the Bomb rune. I'll go over everything in his arsenal in more detail a bit later, but for now, all you need to know is that the only gear of his we can find on the plateau is bombs and the Traveler's Bow, which is the bow Link uses in his neutral B. So already we're faced with our first major challenge. How do we beat the plateau with bombs and a shitty-ass bow? Before I could answer this question, I needed to actually own the gear. So I headed off to the Temple of Time to pick up her bow and some arrows, and I made my way to the bomb shrine to we'll get bombs. Because I can actually use the rune this shrine intended, this one was pretty simple. Then came the Magnesis Shrine. Now, normally you're supposed to just lift up the metal slate and progress, but Smash Link, he doesn't know how, okay? When he was playing through Breath of the Wild, he got the bomb rune and he was like, sick. And then the old man came up to him and he was like, are you gonna go get the rest of them? And then Smash Link was like, nah, I don't really feel like it. So what do? Well, thankfully, there is a glitch we can utilize, known as the Wind Bomb. The Wind Bomb is a technique in which you drop 2 bombs midair and blow up the furthest one to propel the closer one into Link and send him flying. This glitch requires 2 things, bombs and a bow to go into bullet time, which are literally the only 2 things we had. Now, some of you might be thinking, wait a second, in order to Wind Bomb, you need to use the square bomb as well, but Smash Link only uses the circle bomb. So what's the deal? Well, first of all, thank you, smartass. And second of all, the reason we can use the square one is because it is a package deal with the circle one. When you unlock the bomb rune, you are given both at the same time. And when you upgrade the bomb rune, both get upgraded at the same time. You cannot separate them, meaning the ability to use one signifies the ability to use the other. If Smash Link can use the circle bomb, then he has the square one in his back pocket. He just chooses not to use it. So, I was good to go. I flew over the gate, and I immediately noticed this chest. Now, due to me having hours in Breath of the Wild, I actually remember that this chest held a Traveler's Bow. But remember, without Magnesis, the only way to obtain this bow was to go up to it. Now, the platform the chest was on was very tiny, and as such, wind bombing onto it was really difficult. I tried and tried and tried, but eventually gave up. However, once I did, this happened. Okay. We're at full health. Wait a second. Do you guys think I can... Oh, dude, if I had a shield, I could totally make that. Damn, so close yet so... Okay, let me try something. Do you think it'll move? Oh, I think it's static. If we had stasis, I think this would work, but we do not. Oh my god, wait, it's moving! Let's go! So now I had 2 bows in my arsenal, and I was feeling pretty good. I ran over to the old man's hut, and with some ingredients I found on the way, I cooked up the spicy meat and seafood fry. In a typical playthrough, you're supposed to give this to the old man and get the warm double. But looking at all of Smash Link's ults, he doesn't actually have the double in his wardrobe, so I just had to eat the food and be on my way. Similarly to Magnesis, I wind bombed through Stasis and Cryonis, both fairly easily, and finished off the 4 shrines. I turned in my 4 orbs for a heart, got to the top of the Temple of Time, and the King of Hyrule gave me this for my efforts. Does it look like I can use this? We only use Traveler's Bows in these parts, brother. Listen up, King Ram, Blasphemy, Kaleidoscope, whatever the fuck your name is, Hyrule. We can't use this, bro. Thanks for nothing. Oh, and he also gave me the paraglider, which is whatever. I mean, like, that's only like kind of helpful, I guess. I mean, like, I guess I'll do you a favor and take it off your hands just so you don't have to hold on to this dog shit. But like, you owe me for real, for real, for real. Maybe next time, give me like a good item or whatever. Whatever. With the paraglider in stow, now is a good time to fully go over Smash Link's gear. So obviously he has the Master Sword, the Hylian Shield, and as mentioned before, he has the Traveler's Bow from his neutral B. When you use his side B, he throws out a boomerang, which is actually the basic boomerang you can get in the game. This weapon is garbage, at least in comparison to something like the Master Sword. Yet surprisingly, this boomerang proved to be the most valuable thing we owned in 2 different situations. But I'll get to that later. Looking at his clothes, Link is wearing the Champion's Tunic and the Hylian trousers. I already got the trousers on the Plateau, so I only needed the tunic to complete the fit. In Link's final smash, he uses both an Ancient Bow and Ancient Arrows, so thankfully we're not stuck with this piece of shit bow. And lastly, just in case some of you were wondering, we can actually use the paraglider because he uses it in his intro animation. With all this info understood, I left the Plateau with 3 major objectives. The first was to get the Master Sword. In order to do this, I needed 13 total hearts. With the starting 3 and the additional 1 I got from the Plateau shrines, I needed a total of 9 more, which equaled 36 shrines. The second was to make a trip to Hyrule to pick up the Hylian Shield and any ancient arrows they had lying around. And the third was to activate both Purah and Robbie's lab to get the Champion's Tunic, the Ancient Bow, and a guaranteed way to get ancient arrows. First thing I started doing was just visiting every shrine I could see. And this is where I really got the feeling that Nintendo had no idea that wind bombs were ever going to be a thing. Half of these shrines are ridiculously cheesable. Any shrine that had low walls surrounding it were basically jokes. And to make matters even funnier, each shrine has 4 of these little pedestals at the entrance, which is the perfect height to get into bullet time. And well, you can figure out the rest from there. But to be fair, there were some that were much harder than the others. Some shrines are very clearly designed with either combat, a certain piece of gear, or a specific rune in mind. And these were either impossible or extremely difficult. But if you know me, you'll know that my mama ain't raised no bitch for real. And I'm really stubborn. So even if there was a very tiny chance of success, as long as it was possible, I would try it until I got it. A good example of this is the Water Guides Shrine, which is very clearly supposed to be solved using Cryonis. There were 2 required wind bombs. The first was over this tiny gap, which wasn't that big a deal, but the second was above this extremely high cage. There's a very short amount of space between the top of the cage and the ceiling of the shrine, making this wind bomb very difficult, which led to a lot of failures. And I mean a lot. I actually cannot remember how long I spent in this shrine. Until eventually... Wait. Okay, we're back. Wait, okay, eat. Oh my god! Let's fucking go! I'm like that! Yes! So through our shrine adventures, I made my way to Kakariko Village. Impa welcomed us in, dabbed us up, and told us to go to Hateno. After wind bombing over there, I talked to Purah and needed to activate her lab. In order to do this, you need to take the blue flame and light all the torches in the village. So I lit torch after torch after torch and ran into a problem. The only method I had of transferring the blue fire was through arrows, but one of the torches was too far from the previous one, which led to the arrows burning up too quickly. The obvious answer is to use a torch, but Smash Link doesn't have one in his inventory, so what to do? Well, thankfully, there was a solution. Remember the boomerang from Link's side B? Well, it turns out it's actually a wooden boomerang, so it could light on fire and we could use it as a torch. So I ran a quick errand, solved our torch problem, and activated the lab. Now at this point, I had a brain blast. While the Champion's Tunic is cool, it's just kind of boring. It was the obvious choice and I wanted to do something a little different. Looking through Link's alternate costumes, the only other options we had were the Hylian Tunic, which is still kind of plain, and the Royal Guard's uniform, which goes hard. I was also feeling the urge to make a visit to Hyrule, and with both parts of the uniform we could use being located at the castle, I made up my mind. So I unlocked Central Tower, cheesed yet another shrine, That was so fucking clean. And infiltrated the enemy base. Bear in mind, at this point, I still don't have a weapon or a shield I can use. So my only form of damage was my arrows and my bombs. This made it much harder to navigate Hyrule, and I only managed to pick up the Royal Guard boots and some ancient arrows. Not the best haul, but it could have been a lot worse. I wanted to get the Hylian shield, but with my shitty damage output, I just didn't think it would be possible to beat the Stalnox. I finished out some more shrines and concluded my first day of recording. Day 2 started with more shrine hunting, and after a couple were completed, I started to feel frustrated with how slow we were traveling across the map. Wind bombs were great, yes, but there was an even greater glitch we could have been using that can take you across the map in seconds. The only problem was that I needed a shield to activate it, and we still had no way of really damaging the Stalnox. The only option we had was to just repeatedly throw bombs at it until it died. And that is such a psycho thing to do. I mean, like, who would do that? Because that is so inefficient and there is so much room for error, and that is so cringe and so lame, and whoever would resort to that method is a bozo with no life or friends. Yeah. Nah, but for real, this method wasn't all bad. The Stalnox was an idiot. I just ran around in circles and threw bombs, and each time he was like, ooh, shiny! So eventually he went down. Now we finally had a shield to use, and we were allowed to use the greatest glitch in this game. The BLSS. This glitch requires 4 things: a bow, a shield, a holdable object, and any platform or surface that makes Link do this step-up animation. If you can meet these 4 checks, then you will be able to fly across the map without losing any altitude at no stamina cost. If you thought Nintendo didn't plan for wind bombs, my god, they didn't really plan for this crap, because some shrines took a matter of seconds to complete. And to make matters even worse, remember those 4 pedestals at the start of shrines? All of them are just the right height to give Link this step-up animation, meaning that in every single shrine, you have a consistent BLSS setup. Honestly, as I say this out loud, there's a possibility that Nintendo knew and were just like, whatever. Don't get me wrong, the BLSS is a huge boon when it comes to clearing shrines, but I actually wanted it for a different reason, and that was to zoom across the map to Rito Village and attempt to take on Va Meadow. Is Va Meadow a requirement for beating the game? No. Would I be able to use Rivali's Gale if I got it? No. But the reason I wanted to do it was honestly just curiosity. It's kind of boring not exploring the other options when you know they exist, and I wanted to see if Smash Link could do it. Bear in mind, I was down to do any of the 4 Divine Beasts, but I remember that you needed shock arrows to enter Ruta, which was a no-go. Rudania didn't require any arrows, but the process of getting into it takes forever. So I was left with either Meadow or Naboris, which both required bomb arrows. We can't use bomb arrows, but I had a hunch that maybe the bomb rune would be able to suffice. And between the two, Meadow was much faster and easier to start, so I opted for that. I hit some more shrines, showed Tiba that I am just that guy, and flew sky high to fight Meadow. In this part, you're supposed to blow up each of the cannons, and the moment of truth for the bomb rune finally arrived. I think I'm too close. Okay, oh, bombs just float! Maybe if I get, like, super duper close. I think I was too... God, this is hard. I don't think it works, boys. Oh, it works! Let's go! Thankfully, it worked. So we blew up all 4 and entered Meadow, where all my excitement from like 10 seconds ago quickly faded. No! Other way, other way, other way. Oh, wait. You know what I didn't think of? Can we beat this without Magnesis? If I unlock this thing for no like reason, I'm gonna be so upset. I spent maybe the next hour trying to figure out how to access this terminal, and I reluctantly came to the conclusion that it was impossible. To open this gate, you need to have this battering ram hit this switch with enough momentum. There were 2 methods you could use to achieve this: tilting the Divine Beast and creating your own momentum, both of which unfortunately required either stasis or magnesis, meaning this terminal was unreachable and Divine Beast Va Meadow was uncompletable. At this point, I started to really think about it, and I realized there was no fathomable way you could beat any of the Divine Beasts with only bombs. So that just ended up being a huge waste of time. Well, at least we got some shrines out of it, right? So who can really complain? Oh, wait, you know somebody who can complain? Oh, yeah. How could I forget about me? I can fucking complain. God damn it, what a waste of time. Now, throughout this entire journey of either going to the Divine Beast or going to Hyrule, I've been doing any shrine I saw on the way. If I went over every single one, this video would last until Tears of the Kingdom came out. So instead, enjoy this short montage of all the funniest and most satisfying shrine clears. With 13 hearts almost within our grasp, I found myself in Akala, which is home to Robbie's lab. In order to activate it, you need to finish the Champion's Tunic questline, so I finally decided to hang up the Royal Guard drip and go back to Old Reliable. Activating Robbie's lab was basically the same as Purah's, with the boomerang once again being the only reason it was possible. Now remember, the main reason we are here was for the ancient arrows and the bow. To get the bow, we needed ancient springs, gears, and giant ancient cores. For 5 ancient arrows, we needed ancient springs and shafts. To get these parts, we needed to kill some guardians, and while I technically could do that at this point, I didn't want to waste my few ancient arrows. So I finished out the shrine grind and finally made my way to Korok Forest. Now we had a complex maze of a forest to navigate. Using a boomerang as a torch, we were on a timer because it could break. This was surely going to be one of the hardest parts of the entire run. Yeah, this glitch is crazy. With the weapon I could actually swing and was actually good, I went on a huge guardian murder spree, mainly for giant ancient cores, as they are the most important part we needed, but unfortunately, the most rare guardian part out there. Funny enough, unlocking Va Meadow was actually helpful here, because there is a core on the beak. I also went and got a bunch of arrows. If you guys didn't know, if you kill all the Lizalfos leading up to Zoro's domain, you can get like 100 arrows pretty easily, which is what I ended up doing. I went back to Robbie's lab and made my ancient bow. Unfortunately, because the materials for the bow and 5 arrows are so similar, I was actually pretty limited with the number of arrows I could make. The main issue was that both required ancient springs, and between the two I had to prioritize using them on bows because at the very least we still had regular arrows. On the plus side though, this final visit to Robbie marked the completion of all 3 of our initial objectives. With everything pretty much prepared at this point, I finally made my way to the castle. Alright, here we are. We finally got our updated gear, so let's just go over it. We have Master Sword, obviously. It's at its full power, and it's brand new. It just got recharged. And we have 3 boomerangs. I think this will be enough for what we need them for. Honestly, in terms of weapons, it's going to be a Master Sword carry. For our bows, we have 1 Traveler's Bow and 4 Ancient Bows. And our arrows, we have a total of, I think that's like 123 arrows total, with 104 regular and 19 ancient arrows. This is also going to be our main source of damage when the Master Sword is on cooldown, though I actually think it will be able to last for a decent amount as long as I like space them out properly. Shields, we only got the Hylian shield. And in regards to food, since I was thinking about it in context of like a Smash Ultimate, game, I decided to have 2 fairies. So what I'm going to do is each of these 2 fairies represent like the stocks you would have in a competitive match. So like If you have 3 stocks, that means I have my current stock and then 2 revives, which is what the fairy is, yielding a total of 3. And at each time I die and a fairy respawns, I'll full heal back to full, but then aside from that, I can't heal at all during the battle. No food effects, no champion abilities or anything. All right, this is it. This is gonna be like the finale to whether Smash Link can beat Breath of the Wild. He had to overcome a lot of obstacles, but I think we can do it. Hold on, let me just switch off this shitty ass bow. Okay, let's go. The fights were actually all possible for Ultimate Link. Wind Blight and Water Blight require no specific rune, and we were able to use bombs, which is the rune you needed for Fire Blight, so those went fine. But what about Thunder Blight? Normally, when Thunder Blight goes into its second phase, you're supposed to use Magnesis to swing the lightning rods into him. But without it, what can I do? Well... yeah, that's what I was talking about. Okay, that's why boomerangs are so good. MVP. Now came the Calamity Ganon fight. And this is where beating Vaughn Meadow would have been really helpful, because in addition to not having to fight Windblight Ganon, part of Calamity Ganon's health would have been gone. But because we couldn't, we had to fight this motherfucker at full power. And this fight is so much harder when you have to do that. But after dying over and over and over again, I had the God run. Let's go! Yes! Oh my god, I had to shut the fuck up for that entire part. We fucking did it, baby. Let's go. Don't kill me now. Oh my god. All right, whatever. That is, can Smash Ultimate Link beat Breath of the Wild? The answer to that question is yes. That's going to be it for me today. If you guys enjoyed, be sure to let me know down below. But without further ado, I'll see you guys in the next one, okay? Bye.